guys, I am Chris Kaler.
And I'm Amber Fuss from Kyuujin, and today we're back with you for House of Dragons, episode 2, season 2.
Last episode we saw what you guys call the blood and cheese event, where Aegon's firstborn, his heir, was killed by two guys sent by Daemon. He sent them to kill Aemon first, but he also said, and we didn't talk about this last episode, but you guys pointed it out, and it is true, there was a pause and we didn't see his response when they said, what if we don't find Aemon? Well, we assume he said a son for a son, meaning any son would do, and they didn't find Aemon. So they took the child. This episode being called Rhaenyra the Cruel, I'm thinking they'll just spin it, well, you don't have to spin it really. She sent someone to kill the heir, like that's what they know, and it's gonna reflect badly on the blacks, but we know that she didn't ask for the kid's death, so we'll see how that goes between her and Daemon.
You think that maybe she's gonna go with the narrative or something?
I don't know. She is very pissed. She grieved for Lucerys last episode. We had the funeral. Lucerys came back from the north. He's got some support from them and the Eyrie. They both were going through pain and grief and just sadness last time. Now it's time to turn into a dragon and face the war, but yeah, the kid wasn't supposed to die, so we'll see. I am expecting Aegon to go berserk. We already know we've seen him last episode as a king. He's still a child, right? He doesn't really know how to follow the rules or do what's expected. He's really willing to give to his people, and he's very impulsive with his decisions. But now his son is dead, so we'll see how he reacts to that.
He might still be impulsive with his decision because of the death of his son.
That's what I'm expecting. And Alicent is sleeping with Criston Cole. Moving on. No, but yeah, Daemon was really pissed last episode. He was trying to push the anger onto anyone, really, that he could see. And when Rhaenyra said she wanted Aemon, he went for it. And I think any death would have been satisfying for him as long as they gave a blow to the Greens. And yeah, Aemon would have been a bigger blow and more justified. But now the kid is dead, so we'll have to see what happens next.
Alright.
We know this episode is coming late. I wasn't there when the episode came out, and it took me a couple days to come back, but I am here now. We are here now. Let's jump in this episode and finally see what happens next. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of these episodes, and check out our Patreon for the full-length reactions.
Alright, let's go.
And it was people from the household. So people from, the Red Keep.
A bunch of innocents are gonna get killed.
Or suspected, like what happened and who else might be working secretly for the blacks.
I'll kill them all! Traitors and villains!
Try and breathe before you make anything, you do anything.
I declare war! I declare war!
This is bad for Aegon though, because what he was drinking with his buddies, his son has been killed by someone.
The door in his chamber is open, so he would know they came here for me. Is he gonna feel guilty? Like, he killed Lucerys and then they came for him and he ended up killing his nephew?
I don't know about the guilty part, but he knows. Yeah, he knows.
The villain will be found. We mustn't be shaken by this.
Easy to say, hard to do.
The child.
The child is dead. His pain is ended. But what have you done to Micah?
Yes.
I'm thinking Elena is not talking, is not saying anything about who it was. Like, she must be in shock.
The gods punish us. They punish me.
For what sin?
For starting this, it is war, though.
We will mourn as we must, but some good may yet come of this.
Perfect.
What good can come from this?
Perfect opportunity to spin a story.
And where were you?
True, he was fucking his mom.
I was abed, Your Grace, having ordered the night's watch.
Abed! Instead of safeguarding the sanctity of my family.
Here's the guilt, too.
If I may, Your Grace, the guard has detained someone. It's a gold cloak. We caught him, fleeing the gate of the gods, with the child's head in a sack.
I'll kill him myself.
We do well to get what information we can from the blackguard. I trust in the mastery of your trade.
Always studying, always protocol.
Well-
We know our enemy!
A king may have more than one enemy, Your Grace.
True.
We would do well to ascertain if this is your sister's hand.
It's Daemon's, but true.
It doesn't matter.
You mean to blame Rhaenyra?
That's what he wants.
Tell the realm she's...
No matter the outcome or who did it,
I will not be seen as weak.
You're already seen as weak.
It's interesting because we know it was the Blacks. But the fact that they didn't know, they were not sure, but still they're spinning it towards her manipulation once again.
Let them see the child. Let them look upon the works of this pretender to the throne.
Hence the Rhaenyra the Cruel. I really don't like Otto.
he's making the death of his grandchildren like a spectacle.
I understand why, because it makes sense according to what's going on.
Jaehaerys was my grandson. I loved him. I will not have him die in vain. Those who declared for Rhaenyra, will they still support her when they hear of her depravity, or will they rather not renounce her?
It's because he's thinking instead of feeling. And it rubs us the wrong way, but he's right.
He's been thinking since season 1.
Let the Silent Sisters ready the prince for his final journey, and riding behind him his mother the queen, and with her the queen dowager.
No, I do not wish to be a spectacle.
No,
Realm
you don't?
must see the sorrow of the crown, a sorrow best expressed through its most gentle souls.
It's a spectacle. You want to go that way,
The king
you're going to be
himself
part of it.
must be spared.
Because
The
he
king-
can't be seen as weak.
The king must stay strong no matter what.
He is exploiting the grief, and I feel like Alicent is kind of going for it because it's a better alternative than wallowing in her guilt. I feel really bad for Aegon though.
When the people share our grief, they draw closer to us. But I don't want them closer. I don't know them. Sometimes we have to pretend.
That's the sacrifices of the royal family.
Last night when you came to my room...
This is for my boy.
It's about like she must feel so guilty if he was supposed to guard the frickin' door. He said he asked for the night's watch, but no one was there.
I was hired by Daemon Targaryen.
Straight away.
He paid us.
Who is us?
A rat catcher. I don't know his right name.
Dude, you're so gonna get killed.
I love that he went straight like, fuck Daemon, man. I don't want to suffer.
Of Rhaenyra Targaryen, defiler of
And like the trauma Elena must be going through currently, because like people that she doesn't know came into the room, killed her kid, and now she's surrounded by people who could do the same.
By strangers, yeah.
Don't get close. What if the head falls, man?
fudge. I hope not.
Now, how do you react to this?
Thousands witnessed the procession.
And they are accusing me of having a hand in this.
Go talk to your husband.
It must be said that the damage to our position is immeasurable. At a time when we most need loyalty to our cause.
You're not saying anything.
The death of Prince Lucerys was a shock.
You think she knows that he did it? Or
They
that
might
he's
be
behind
thinking.
it?
They might be thinking like, oh, we see why they would believe it.
Are you suggesting that my grief drove me to order the decapitation of
See,
a
even
child?
they doubt her.
Merely thought an action taken in haste.
Mind yourself.
The worst is they are right, but it wasn't her. It's Daemon who doesn't fucking listen.
She knows. She knows.
Little slight smile, like.
I was clear in my instructions.
You were clear with your instructions, really.
I cannot be responsible for a
Cannot be
mistake.
responsible.
What if you said a son for a son? Which I think you did, because that's what they said.
You have wounded me.
No.
You did.
I don't believe you.
Sometimes, Daemon, you act so rashly.
He follows
You
his.
don't think before acting.
He acts in anger. Hell, he choked her last season. Because he reacts.
Cannot trust you, Daemon.
Not on this.
I have served you faithfully.
Have you?
Yeah.
Or have you used me?
He waited for the okay and then he did whatever he wanted.
Grasp at your stolen inheritance.
Don't get close to her.
You sought to lead a council of war, while I laboured alone. And afterward, when I thought it meet to consider the terms
folly,
our
a
hopes
folly.
were before us.
To give up my brother's throne to the traitorous lies of Otto
My throne!
See, he's fighting like it's his. You can't deny, though, that you've been doing stuff for your own good without thinking of her. There's both, man.
Do you accept me as your queen?
I think that's the main issue.
Or do you cling even now to what you think you lost?
Be honest.
What I think I lost.
You did not lose it, you gave it away.
He's not even. He's not answering.
Your father
Who
was a
needed
coward
you?
who knew I was the stronger son, and he was afraid to be seen in my shadow.
Is that what you understand of your own brother?
You know him better than I do. Do you believe he made you heir because of your great wisdom? Or did he merely use you as a tool to put me in my place because he was afraid?
It's not all about you.
He was not afraid of you! He could not trust you!
Hell, he wanted him by his side.
He proved them right.
You struck down a child.
He did.
It was a mistake.
Yeah, but you allowed it.
Who was it?
Whew. In a way, they are both right, but it's like he refuses to see that his emotions have taken control of his actions.
Daemon is not good at reflecting on himself. Never been.
He spent years.
Never was, never will.
He spent years in exile, in self-imposed exile, because he couldn't accept the truth, and like in his mind he made up a scenario of what was happening between him and his brother, and he never let that go. Never. He's gonna try to put the blame on whoever was supposed to be there for the Night's Watch.
What is this? It's a reminder of yesterday. The procession was muddy. I'll replace it hence.
Do it now.
The night was long, Sir Criston. And I had not eaten. If I could
You
just...
defy my authority, Ser Arryk.
Dude.
The white cloak is a symbol of our purity.
Coming from him?
Kingsguard are a sacred trust. We so easily sully our ancient honor.
Like you did? He feels dirty. He feels like he didn't do his duty, so now he's doing like Daemon last episode.
Putting the blame on other people.
Yeah, he's just sending his anger towards other people.
I have heard. I'll remedy the error.
Honestly, after everything last
Where were you
season,
when Jaehaerys was murdered?
putting him in charge was the worst idea.
With King Aegon. What if you thought to go upstairs? Where were you?
Yeah?
Yeah?
And why has Rhaenyra the Queen been granted no small protector? Surely once she ascended, she should have... Oh, brother!
He's a thief and a traitor to the crown.
Bitch. That has nothing to do with this.
But we're so getting out.
Oh, he doesn't want to be called out on his bullshit.
How are we to know that you do not secretly share his sentiments? I denounced him before the king. If I'd shared his sentiments, I would have fled with him. First, your brother betrays us.
Bitch.
And then the young prince is murdered on...
He was taking care of the king.
You have brought disgrace upon our ranks.
You did.
You did the same thing. Even worse, even.
No, he didn't do
Now
anything.
You must restore it. How am I to do that?
By doing the same, I guess.
You will go to Dragonstone and strike down Rhaenyra in her own hall.
Are you fucking mad? He's gonna get killed.
The castle is defended against all enemies, now especially. How would I enter?
Your twin serves there at the pleasure of the so-called queen. They
Pretend to be your brother.
Play the part.
And like, if he gets caught or if he gets seen and his brother is told, because Daemon already suspects like, oh, maybe you're not, last episode he was saying shit.
Now will you go? Or must I question your loyalty to the king?
Bitch, he was guarding the king last episode. It's all about you and your fucking guilt.
As you command.
And seriously, who are you to order that command?
The Lord Commander.
No, but still.
Daemon sent them to kill me. He's afraid of me.
Maybe you're dragon.
I do regret that business with Luke. I lost my temper that day. I am sorry for it.
I am glad to hear it.
Kind of like he's seeking a mother
Mother's
figure.
touch, yeah.
Like she's an older woman, same hair, fetal position like a child. He feels guilty and he's got no one to help him go through that. Because Alicent is so focused on her own guilt and her own grief, she's not focusing on her kids. Oh shit. Oh. They don't know who Cheese is, so they just hung all the rat catchers.
Who are they?
Rat catchers in the king's employ.
What they do?
Well, one of them killed the heir. I'll assume it wasn't planned.
The rat catchers!
I had them hanged.
I just worked so hard to have the comfort of the people and he took it away.
Yeah, he worked hard to get their support and now...
They are fathers and brothers and sons, and their wives and children gather now at our gates to weep and curse your name.
He's right about that. He understands how people work. I'll give him that. It's sad to see Aegon do that to his people, considering last episode.
We made a bitter sacrifice against the deprivations to come, and you've thrown it away. After all I've done for you, thoughtless.
You did nothing for him. You used his grief.
I wish to spill blood. We must act. Sir Criston Cole has acted.
Of course. What has he done now? He's like, what the fuck?
Have you stopped to think of the consequences of your actions?
You sent Ser Arryk to slay Rhaenyra.
It's time the bitch queen paid a price.
It's your own personal
You
fucking
should pay
grudge.
your own price, dude.
You never think of your father. His judiciousness,
Are you missing Viserys now?
dignity.
Fuck dignity. I want revenge.
Yeah, well.
My father is dead.
And we are the poorer for it.
He misses Viserys. Even though Viserys, like, sent him away, didn't listen to him, now he realizes, like, yep, you had it good with him.
I mean, compared to...
About you.
Oof.
Oh, that hurt.
He made me king.
He's gonna go for, feet lover. He made
Is
you
that
king.
what you think?
Remove your badge.
There you go. Although I will say that for the war effort for the Greens, Otto is doing a lot of good.
Yeah,
Sending
so
him
bad.
away.
You and my father's house.
Your house is gonna just crumble, Aegon. Sorry, but yeah.
You wouldn't dare.
I have dared.
Insolent pup.
What is that gonna do?
Give it to Cole.
Oh, bitch, no.
Can he be the head
No.
of king? Technically, he's the-
Yeah. He's the king, he can do whatever.
My new hand will be a steel fist.
Your new hand is impulsive and is not wise.
Regret this.
Oh, you will.
Give it to him.
Cole, who hates Rhaenyra for personal stuff that happened between them and cannot look past his guilt, his fucking anger. Great. We're doomed. Well, they're doomed.
And he's like, my house is gonna burn to the ground.
To be fair, though, he put him on the throne, and he thought he could say anything to him. You gave him power, man. Like, what if he finds his brother? Is it him?
I think it's him.
For a fact, I know he's not gonna kill her, because it's not over after this. What if she dies and then Daemon takes over? But they might punish his brother.
I had no choice.
A brother against brother.
Oh.
Me, your grace! Which is Arryk? You party not! But I still love you, brother.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Arryk.
Forgive me.
No. No.
That was really hard.
He's young and unschooled. His faith is in steel and bone. He has not the long view. I can't stay here. Witness to the blundering of our plans, I'll return to Old Town.
He started the war, he doesn't get to see it.
While you're gone, I'll speak sense to him. In time, you may yet return.
Before or after Cole does some crazy shit.
The young are peacocks. But we will yet prevail and bring forth peace, I still believe. As long as you and I hold fast.
I have sinned.
I do not wish to hear of it.
You're the only one now that you know, listens to me, so don't break that. And I can't help but see that no one here got any support from a family member. They all went through some grief. None of them got support. They're not a family. Can he get, like, I just said no one got support. Are you gonna help him a little bit?
Could you imagine, though? You just lost one of your children, your heir to the throne, and your grandfather told you that your own father never wanted you on the throne. He has no one in his
And
corner.
her guilt is too much for her to fucking take care of him.
I think he's liking.
He still expects her to go for him eventually.
Yeah.
Otto sin. The fact that she's doing Cole instead of helping her sons. Yeah. I really don't support that.
None of them, maybe the blacks or the green, have support from their own family members.
Well,
it's a shame. It's a shame.
No, I mean, Rhaenyra got support. Like, her son is right there with her.
She has her son, but the biggest support that she could have would be from her husband, and she doesn't have it because Daemon, once again, is in his own head.
No, we'll talk about Daemon first then, because he is something else. I think everything Rhaenyra said about him is true. I don't even know, though, at this point, if it's conscious or not. Like, it's years and years of pent-up emotion, and in a way, I know what it's like to believe that the people surrounding you, like the people that you care about, the people that you love, sometimes they do stuff and you interpret it wrongly, and you believe that their opinion of you is bad, right? Like, and you see only that, and you bury yourself in those emotions. For Daemon, it's even worse because he spent years in self-imposed exile, but thinking that, oh, I have no choice. Like, he doesn't want me there, but he put the blame on Viserys, not facing the fact that you're the one who never got over those emotions. You're the one that left. Like, you imposed this on you, but it did worse for his self-esteem, for his opinion of their relationship, everything. Like, he just lived away and got bitter and bitter, right, about Viserys and his opinion of Daemon. In his, to be fair, like, it's true they couldn't trust Daemon back in the day, first few episodes of season 1, right? Like, he would act a certain way. The council didn't like him. They, you know, they feared that he wanted the crown, and there was a lot of discussion about whether or not he wanted the crown. I think he wanted Viserys to accept him. He wanted Viserys to see him for what he was, give him what he was due. Did he want the crown? I don't know. Maybe in some way. I mean, but I think he mostly wanted just recognition, and the way he acted to get that recognition, he always felt like he was the better choice, just the better man, not necessarily for the crown, but the better fighter, which to be fair he was, the better strategist, the better
hand.
Yeah, like
the better everything.
He is good, but because he believes he's good, he acts to prove it. Like, he does things thinking like, yeah, they'll come to their senses, they'll realize I was right. But since he acts without anyone else's approval, the others start being like, yeah, shit, we can't have him around, like, we can't trust him, so they reject
acting
him
without communicating with your thoughts. Like,
yeah,
you don't think about as a team, but just there's no high in team, but well, he's the high. He's the missing high, basically.
There's a me.
There's a me.
Yeah, he believes he has the right solution all the time, but since no one can trust him because he acts on his own, they reject him, and he takes the rejection like, oh, they don't think I can do it. Like, they don't think I'm the best. Like, they don't value me. And so he keeps acting out. Like, it's a weird circle that he's put himself in. And it's years and years of those emotions. And now Viserys is gone. He never got to clear the air with him. And Rhaenyra is the queen. But I think that if Viserys, he saw him as the weak man, the one that needed his support, he looks at Rhaenyra and he sees the young girl, the child that you know, he groomed in a way. Like, the child that he saw grow up, and oh, she didn't know anything, and he taught her so much, right? Like, so I think he has a hard time seeing her in charge. I don't know if it's about the crown. Still, I'll question that, but for sure, he believes he's better than her in a lot of ways, and he doesn't necessarily want her crown. Like, he wants her to have the title, but he also wants
he wants to be in command. Yeah. That's the thing with
it's about control.
Rhaenys and her husband, Corlys
Velaryon.
Yeah. they said it best that Daemon doesn't want to be commanded by his queen, by his wife. He wants to be in charge, but he's the king consort.
Well, it's not even about king consort. I feel it's just about him thinking he's the best, and I'll give it to him. He is good, but he believes he's the best fighter, strategist, commander, and to be told by someone he views as a child what to do, and to be told you can't act on your instinct or what you believe is best because you need to follow her command, that rubs him the wrong way. Kind of like you talked about Corlys. Back in the day when Corlys was going for the crown, saying it was for his wife, but his wife had no interest in the crown anymore. Like, he was saying it was for her own interest because he believed that he did that for her, but truly he needed to realize that it was his own emotions that were fueling this quest.
At the end, he did. After the loss of their son, he kind of did.
Eventually, he did. But Daemon, he's doing things for his own good, thinking. That's why I'm throwing some doubt on the situation, because I don't know if he realized that it's his emotions that push him. Truly, he believes he's the best, and he's doing what he wants, but he's disguising it as doing it for their own good. Like, they don't know better. I'm gonna do it, right? He's always been like that, and now, like, he did that, and again, he's destroyed some, Rhaenyra's reputation. He didn't help her at all, but he made it sound like he was doing it for her, when in fact he was doing it for him. And he wasn't capable in this episode to say, like, yeah, okay, you're right, I ordered this. Like, he tried to disguise it as, I did what I had to do, or I asked for Aemon. If they did anything otherwise, like, that's not my problem. But you made it sound like it was okay.
You were still behind it.
Because
you gave the order.
He let anger talk for him. He let his emotions take over. But I think he has too much pride to acknowledge that sometimes he's not making the right decision, right? Sometimes he's not perfect. Sometimes he's not as strong or as good as he thinks he is. Now he's left. I don't know where he's gonna go. He could try and correct his mistake by going after Aemon himself. He could do what Rhaenyra wants him to do, which is go into Harrenhal and gain more support. They don't know. But yet again, like, he left without saying anything, and he's a loose cannon. We don't know what to expect from him. But he definitely damaged their cause, because people will be whispering and people will be mad. And again, the small folk are the ones that will pay the consequences for this. And it fucking sucks, especially since Rhaenyra has kids Jaehaerys' age, and she just lost a child, and she doesn't hate Alina. It's family, right? She wanted Aemon because Aemon is responsible for Lucerys' death, and on a military level, it made sense to go for Aemon because he is a strong fighter and he's got the biggest dragon. But this, an innocent, like, I was saying in the comments last episode that this is why I did not condone this. I know some people say it's war, anyone can die, and everything is acceptable, sort of, but we're talking about an innocent child's death, and he didn't deserve this, considering Rhaenyra didn't order for this, and this is what rubbed me the wrong way. Like, Daemon did whatever Daemon wanted to do, and he completely ignored the actual order that Rhaenyra gave, and now it's damaging everyone on the black side. And it led to everyone on the green side reacting rashly and acting like this and following their own emotions and doing more bad shit. And now we got two brothers who killed each other, and it fucking was sad. It was hard for me.
We've been seeing a lot of time that they're not acting like a family.
The Greens are not acting like a family.
Well, mostly the Greens from we saw, and it just I pity them. Otto wanted to put his grandson on the throne to have more power, more influence, and he's gonna put his own house to the ground. He's gonna burn it.
Who? Otto?
Because of what Otto did, trying to put his own family on the throne to have more power and more influence, he's gonna just destroy his own house. They are destroying themselves.
No, to be fair, everyone in those days would wish to elevate their house, right? It's not a bad thing to want a better position. Like, to want to be king is a good thing for your house. If you put your son on the throne or your grandson on the throne, if you give power to your house, that's great. But we saw this episode that being king and being in a royal family, that's not all great, right? There's a lot of duty expected from you. There's a lot of responsibilities, and there's a lot of sacrifices. The Starks said it best last episode. Duty is sacrifice, right? And in this episode, we saw that yes, maybe Otto wanted to, give that to his family, but truly, it wasn't in the family's best interest, right? He might think it is, and they might think it is, but we see it, and we think that the stuff that they're going through, like now they're grieving the death of a child, the death of an innocent, that only happened because they went for the crown. That only happened because of that race towards the throne. Without that, there's no death of kids, there's no grief, there's none of that. Although I say that, we also saw this episode that the small folk that are not involved in this war also end up suffering. But we'll talk about that after. It's the fact that, they just lost a kid and they are still expected to pretend. They are expected as the royal family to put on a mask and to use their grief as a ploy for the war. I'll give it to Otto. He was right. Strategically, yeah, he made sense. But emotionally speaking, that did not help anyone. And on top of that, they are all, dealing with their own grief, their own guilt, and none of them are around for all the others, support. They are not there to help anyone. Alicent, being the mother, should take care of her kids. But instead, she is trying to focus on something other than her own guilt. The fact that she was sleeping with Cole when he was supposed to take care of the kids. He was supposed to be on duty. She slept with them. She sinned. And now, she has a hard time living with that. Mm-hmm. But instead of taking care of her children, she focuses on that and she tries to move forward and follow what her father says. Her father is the voice of reason. He's, he doesn't want to hear about her sin. He doesn't want to support her at all with that. He's moving forward. And so she tries to do the same. But what does that mean? That means that she forces Alina to be put, in front of the small folk like a spectacle. She uses her grief, even though she doesn't want to. She didn't want to be put in, in front of the people
either. Yeah.
But she forced her daughter to do just that. Even, especially considering Alina is, I think she's autistic, right? So a lot of people surrounding her, first of all, would be crazy.
It's gonna be too much for her.
But on top of that, recently, people that she didn't know showed up in her room and killed one of her kids, right? Like, she went through a lot of trauma. And now, right after that, to be surrounded by people she doesn't know, she would go crazy. And I expect her to just go...
And I mean, it started sort of fine. What just the
she didn't want to be there.
She didn't want to be there, but the procession started fine. But when it got stuck in the mud and people started to come closer...
It wasn't okay. Again, on an intellectual level, the whole pretending and stuff was a good strategy for the war effort. Mm-hmm. But it took advantage of Alina's grief. It led to, Alicent kind of putting aside her daughter's trauma and using it for the war effort, which is not good. And it led to, the family having to put their son on display like that for the small folk. On top of that, there's also the idea that at first they didn't know it was Rhaenyra who did this, and they didn't know it was the Black's fault, but they still decided to tarnish her reputation. Like, that's the manipulation behind the war, right? That's what happens behind the scenes. It is a bit crazy, but it is how it is. So Alina suffered because I feel Alicent, in a desperate way, to try and forget about her own responsibility towards that. Like, she tried to use it. Like, she tried to make sense of it. Like, oh, it wasn't for nothing, right? Like, that's what Otto said. Like, let's not make his death mean nothing. I think it was a way for her to try and put some sense into the situation. And she put her daughter on display, and she put herself on display for that. So that's with Alina. Aemon is not getting any support whatsoever. I know he's acting cold, like he has no emotions, but this episode we saw him seeking comfort with a woman, and apparently he goes there a lot.
He went to the whole house, but I don't know if he has real sexual relation with her, but at least he gets mother's touch from her.
Maybe he gets...
The way that he was acting in his fetus position when he was just... clinging to her, and she was just playing with his hair, and she kind of looked like his own mom.
She's older. She's, he definitely was there for a mother's touch, which means he doesn't get it at home. He believes that Alicent blames him for the death of Luke, which she kind of does, and he has a hard time showing emotions. Like, he's always closed off, but he does feel, he is human. He does feel bad about the death of Luke because he didn't want that to happen, and now knowing that those men showed up because of him, like they wanted him dead, it does rub him, for his pride and stuff, it does rub him the right way, because he believes that Daemon is too afraid to face him, that he's gonna send like people in the middle of the night to get rid of him. So in that way, he's pleased, but it still led to the death of his nephew, and he knows it's his fault. So currently he needs support. He needs someone to hold him, tell him it's gonna be okay, tell him it's not his fault. He is still a child, and his mom is nowhere to be seen. Still, I could kind of be like, well, I mean, he's not showing emotions, right? He's not asking for support, and he's at odds with his mom. I cannot be okay with how she responded to Aegon's grief.
Oh no.
That end scene,
she
man.
had no excuse to not be there for her own son in that moment.
Hell, it's not like he didn't show emotions. And it's true,
like I said, it is worse because he just lost his son. He just lost his son. He's in grief. He's angry. And his own grandfather reminded him once again that your father was disappointed in you. He never wanted you to be king. So who do you think put you on the throne?
All
Not
his
your
doubts.
father. You're alone, dude.
All his doubts just came back up. All the, everything that Alicent tried to push to the side to convince him he deserved to be king, because he didn't want to be king. He thought that his father never loved him, never believed in him. She tried to make him see the situation differently last season, and it kind of worked, and he did get support from the small folk. But now in his anger, in his grief, to be reminded that, your father never loved you, and, you were right about his opinion of you. On top of that, the also fact that the small folk that he cared about last episode, those that he wanted to support and stuff, are responsible for the death of his child. The fact that it's family against family. Yeah, he's going through so many emotions, and he was crying, and his mom, because she believes she's responsible, and I feel that this is why she didn't go to him to support him, right? Because her guilt is too intense. I think she cannot help her son because she thinks it's her fault, so she rejects him. But good for you, Alicent, but he's going through something, and as the mother, you should put aside your own feelings to take care of Aegon, and you're not doing that. You're leaving him on his own to face this, and that's not what you should do. Worse than that, she goes back to fucking Cole. They are both feeling guilty about what happened. He's taking his anger and his shame and his guilt, and he's trying to send it on someone else.
He's kind of doing like Daemon. He's not self-reflecting, and he's not acknowledging his own fault.
But he's
putting his anger on other people.
Yeah, no, well, he's done that since season 1. It's always other people's fault, right? It was Rhaenyra's fault for rejecting him or not wanting to marry him, but he wanted to marry her because he felt guilty for sleeping with her. He cannot face his own guilt. He cannot, assume. He cannot accept the shame. He sullied his cape. He sullied his title. But instead of accepting that it's his fault that he made those decisions, he always ends up turning his anger towards other people. Like, he still calls Rhaenyra the bitch. Bitch queen and stuff. Like, he still hates her
after all
for
this
that.
time. He still does.
But that's his freaking fault. He is the one that wanted to marry her because sleeping with her wasn't enough, right? Like, he wanted to reject the guilt, right? He felt guilty because he didn't follow his oath. He felt guilty about that, but since she was like, dude, I have responsibilities, like, it was a one-time thing. Like, if we want to sleep together, that's fine, but
it was not just a one-time thing, I guess.
The thing is, she followed her duty, and we talked about that in season 1. She wasn't, blameless, right? Like, she still did stuff that she shouldn't have done.
It takes two to tango, yes.
But she chose duty in the end, and he chose her, and he felt guilty about that, and he tried to make sense of it. But unfortunately, he didn't get what he wanted, and he ended up doing worse and worse and worse. He killed someone because of that, and then he went to Alicent seeking comfort, and he's still doing the same mistake he did with Rhaenyra, with Alicent, and it led to the death of a child. How does he respond to that? By, acting out, by putting the blame on someone who didn't deserve the blame, which led to the death of 2 brothers, by, trying to shame others for his own fucking guilt and shame. And then when that's still not enough, he gets named a hand of the king.
Which is the worst decision ever.
But he still goes to fucking Alicent. He still goes to her because in the end, like, he's weak with, when it comes to that. Oh, I hate him. This episode, like, it's it got worse and worse, man. But yeah, and Alicent, like, it's too easy, right, to see comfort in the arms of a guy who's there for you, right? What I really don't like about this situation is that they are doing stuff together, but they blame others for doing the same. She's sleeping with Cole, but she blamed Rhaenyra for doing that in season 1. For not, doing her duty and stuff. But she's doing the same. And Cole, same thing. Like, right? He did wrong with Rhaenyra, and now he curses her because of that. But he didn't learn from his mistake. He's still sleeping with the queen. He's still not doing his duty. And now he's freaking hand of the king.
Worst decision.
That whole situation,
maybe
man.
As a knight, it can be good strategically, yeah, but as a hand,
no, he can't be good as a hand or a knight strategically because he lets his hatred for Rhaenyra speak.
I mean, he's a good warrior, but he's impulsive with his decision and his action.
Well,
just the fact that he killed someone by smashing his head
last season.
Yeah.
He lets his emotions speak for him, so that's why he's not a good hand. That's why he's not going to be a good hand. Especially since Aegon does the same. He is a child, and it hurt this episode to see, him turn around and curse the small folk that he wanted to help last episode. But he is angry. He is sad. I understand that. But that means that he needs someone to balance him out in the council. And with Cole, he's not going to get that. He's not going to get that because Cole is also angry and he follows his emotions first. But we'll see what happens. To be fair, Cole is also, having discussions with Aemond about what needs to be done, what needs to happen. They wanted someone to whisper stuff in Aegon's ear, and they were saying, like, no, he's being manipulated by Alicent and Otto. But now Otto is gone. And
the look on Otto's face when he just left the council room, I mean, what have I done? Everything's gonna burn, seriously.
Yes, but Otto is good at to strategize. He's good at that. But I can't speak, by the way, today. I'm sorry. But he did put Aegon on the throne, knowing that he wasn't the right choice for a king because of his ambition and because of his plans. And unfortunately, he is currently facing the consequences. You gave him power, and you thought you could manipulate him, and you thought you could, belittle him and say all those things to him, which, to be fair, were all true, because he did hang a lot of innocents, and he put their bodies on display because of his anger. He didn't listen to anyone, but who gave him that power? Who put him in that situation?
What do you expect when you gave a flamethrower to a child? Huh? Destruction.
Well, you wanted this, and now you got it, so face the consequences.
But you know what I like about that episode is the fact that we got such a view on the small folks'
more than usual
perspective. Thank you.
We can't speak. We got a few scenes more than usual. I actually at first I thought it was weird. I'm like, who are these people? But it makes sense. It's those that are not go down, baby. Those that are not responsible for the war. Those that have no say in what's happening. Those that only do their duty. They end up suffering, right? Like during a time of war, it's always the small folk that suffer, the innocent, right? The rat catchers that were hanged for no reason because they were looking for one culprit. The families of those rat catchers will suffer. Those that can't pay, can't put food on their tables because when it's war, the effectives, the food and stuff, it's being
they are counting on the royals' promises. They promises us gold, money, and food, freedom.
But again, last episode I was saying I'm afraid that because he's not experienced in this and he doesn't really know what he's doing. Aegon is promising a lot of things, but he might not follow through with those promises. And now he's focused on war. He said, like, oh, they want war, we'll have a war. He wasn't really focused on that. Like, he brushed it off last episode because I have the bigger dragons, right? It doesn't matter. But now it's personal. Now he's angry. He'll focus on that. And that means he might not follow through with the promises. And those people expect money and food. They won't get it. The small folk might rebel because they don't get that. But that's what happens in times of war, unfortunately. The only bad thing, the only thing that's different is that he promised them food and money. So yeah, it's going to be bad for his reputation. But that's them. There are others that, you know, the soldiers, the knights and stuff that work for them that end up having to fight brothers, family, those that were separated because they picked who they thought was the rightful ruler. That destroyed me, by the way. I was in tears, man. It's sad. It's brothers and the fact that one of them killed the other, and then he killed himself because he couldn't live with the idea of having killed his brother, his twin. That is really bad. That is bad. And the girl who left, who saw that something was going on, I know she said, like, wait a minute, like she was waiting for something. I don't know if she'll come back, but if she noticed that something was up, what is that going to lead to? She was aware that something was up. Did she leave? Did she come back to try and stop it and it didn't happen? I don't know. The brother felt that something was up, but
maybe she told Ser Arryk that she saw his twins then.
Or I feel like he felt something was up. He passed with telepathy between twins, but he felt that something was up, and maybe that's what led him to come back. But maybe she did come back and told them. But if she came back, I mean, she chose a side, and she might decide to stay. I don't know. She might decide to help them. She could have thrown away her freedom right there. We'll see. But not just them, like we also saw those two brothers that work with Corlys, right? One of them saw what's happening, he saw what's going on with the war, and he doesn't want any part of this, but then his brother
the other one has ambition. Is he an opportunity to get recognition and get a name for himself?
I feel like he's also, like, he looked up at the dragons, and to me that felt like a metaphor for his ambition and like what he looks forward to. To be fair, there are currently people in the Velaryon family who are not married, who have influence in dragons and shit, and they are grieving and stuff. Maybe he wants to get close. I don't know. I don't know who he is. I don't know if he'll have any importance in the future, but he wants to be a part of it. To me, it sounds like he doesn't know what he's getting himself into. But yeah, small folks suffer. Well, we'll see. So, really crazy episode. Everyone is broken. No one gets any support from their family, and it's just the beginning, man. Okay.
It's gonna get worse.
It's gonna get worse. And the Greens have lost Otto. He's not gonna stop meddling. He's going back home to try and do something, like to try and help in some way. It is still his family, but now Aegon is free to do whatever, and with fucking Cole at his side, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, poor Elena has no support. Alicent is so blinded by her guilt that she's not there for her kids. Aemon has, he's got no one on his side, and he doesn't know how to process his feelings. Cole follows his anger. Aegon now follows his anger. Otto's nowhere to be seen. And in the Blacks, Rhaenyra can't trust Daemon, and Daemon has gone to do whatever. Great.
It's a shit show, guys.
Yeah. We're gonna end this here. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode with us. If you want to see the full-length reaction to this episode, it is on Patreon right now. You can check it out. The link is in the description below.
And if not, see you next week for episode 3, guys.
Yes. Bye!